Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at the lone Grade 1 stakes race this weekend. It's at Belmont Park on Saturday, and it's race number 10. We're going a mile and 3/8 on the inner turf. It's the Man of War. $700,000 is the purse. Lots of graded stakes races at Belmont on Saturday. Get involved with a DRF Bets account. Deposit $100, bet with $250. Learn more at bets.drf.com. Let's take a look at this field of talented turf runners getting set to go 11 furlongs in the Man of War. And Chad Brown has the morning line favorite in the number 6 Focus Group. You and I really were impressed with Focus Group's late kick last year as a 4-year-old. And in his seasonal debut, he did not disappoint as the favorite. He got a great trip under Arad Ortiz. He saved ground every step, snuck up the rail when the pace setter drifted off, but he kicked late.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he does. Anybody who's followed his career basically from day one, this horse finishes in his races. You have to love that about him. He kept getting better, I thought, throughout the year last year. And listen, was his seasonal debut a thing of beauty? No. Was it the best race he's ever run? No. But he did what he had to do in there. And as you say, Irad saved all the ground, and he managed to skim the rail in the stretch. It was very tight, but he came through it. He also had a pretty good setup on that race because they started racing pretty early in there, and that really worked to this horse's advantage. But you know what, Dan? He just shows up every time and kicks really hard, and there's pace in this race, and it just feels like there were a lot of things pointing towards Focus Group in here.
Beat a couple of next out winners in that race. One of the also-rans, Bigger Picture, came back to take the Elkhorn with a 97, and Chad was saying he thought he had a short horse in that race. He was prepping for the Man of War all along. If Focus Group moves forward off that race with the pace in here, he's going to be a very dangerous contender. Let's talk about the filly, the number 5, Magic Wand, a very talented horse overseas, 4th in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf, 2nd in the Pegasus World Cup Turf behind the streaking Bricks and Mortar. And last time out in the Dubai Shima, they tried her going a 1.5 miles, which I think is a good distance for her, but she fits at this class level, I think. I just don't think I want to take too short a price on her.
Yeah, I guess we kind of feel the same way. She's the kind of filly, I feel like I could use her in here somewhere. I just don't love her all that much. They run her twice in North America. Buyers of 99 and 103 suggest she's going to be really tough in this race. I thought her Breeders' Cup was pretty good. I thought she got a really good trip in that race. And at the end of the day, was she a close 4th? Yeah, but she was no match for those horses in there. And then last time, she ran well in that race. I thought she got another good trip in the Pegasus World Cup. I wasn't blown away with her performance, but she did run well in there. I kind of want to use her somewhere, Dan, but I don't love her in this race.
Another European invader, also trained by Aidan O'Brien, is the number 1 Hunting Horn. Now, the key with the Timeform US Pace Projector is it's a great guide, but you want to handicap it. Hunting Horn is listed as making the lead in this race. I would be stunned if Hunting Horn makes the lead in a race that has horses like Epical and Channel Maker and Village King. I would assume that these connections would love to just track those horses. He has credentials to be sure. He was 3rd in the Belmont Derby as a 3-year-old. He's run some good races. I don't really think he's top class. Maybe he doesn't need to be to win this race.
He probably doesn't. It's interesting to look at that pace projector where they have the 2 Aidan O'Brien horses running. 1 too early on a fast pace in this race. Good luck with that thing being right. Hunting Horn, he is what he is, I guess. They've done a ton of traveling with this horse. They just sent him all over the world. 2 trips to North America last year. He didn't run particularly well in any of the 4 starts he made over here. I will say, though, Dan, his McKnight 3 starts back in January where he wound up 3rd. To say that he didn't get the greatest trip or ride in the world that day would be an understatement. He was pretty badly compromised by the way things all worked out in there, and he actually didn't run that poorly. I can see him doing okay at a price in this race, and of course, he ain't going to be on the lead.
The number 2, Zula Alpha, is one of the more consistent horses in training. He's won 2 of his last 3 races. Last time out in the Elkhorn, he made a big middle move. He was right up there as usual in the stretch, and he fights all the way down to the wire. He was only beaten a length. He has earned 3 triple-digit Beyer speed figures in his last 6 races. Distance is not a concern. Surface condition is not a concern. Something tells me, though, that these horses are a little bit tougher, perhaps, than the one he faced in the Elkhorn.
I kind of agree with all that stuff. I mean, There's nothing wrong with the races that he's run, especially since Maker took over. I mean, he felt like he had a lot of potential early on. He only started finding it once Maker took over and they started going longer with him, but he's just run one good race after another. I think moving from post 10 last time to post 2 this time could really make a difference for him. He gets a good trip in this race, he's going to be right there at the end. But you're right, I think the waters are only going to get deeper now as the summer goes on.
He's trained by Mike Maker, as is the outsider, the 9, Culin Rock. And we have a positive formulator fact for Maker here. The past 3 years, older last out winners going second off the layoff in graded stake turf routes, 23% winners, a 226 ROI. This horse ran a surprisingly good third in the McDermott last time out, then dropped into his entry-level allowance condition, and he won at 2-5 last time out. You've always been a big fan of this horse. You're just not sure he's a grade 1 horse.
Yeah, I mean, I like him a lot as a horse, and I feel like Maker could actually do pretty well with him. I just don't like him in this race.
Let's talk about a couple of the horses that we expect to be on or near the lead now, beginning with the Southern California Invader, the number 7 Epical, who has won 3 out of his last 4 starts, is a very lightly raced 4-year-old with some upside potential, and I really don't think they shipped 3,000 miles to rate. I'm thinking that Tyler Bays is going to be sending and hoping that maybe Channel Maker, who can be a little bit tough to ride, backs off early.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened either, because as much as Channel Maker feels like he wants to be forward now, it's not like he's a need the lead kind of horse. I think this horse will make the front in here. And you know what, Dan? I think that might make him a little bit dangerous at a price in here. His recent races are very good.
I loved his race 3 starts back, and didn't he just drop 24s on the field all the way around the track last time around? He can do that if he's not pressured. Yes, he is taking a step up. Yes, the East Coast turf horses are probably better than the West Coast ones, but this horse is sharp and in form, and this is a very confident placing by a good horseman in Jim Cassidy. Now, Channel Maker won the Turf Classic last year, going 1.5 miles at Belmont. It was a big figure. It was also a very soft turf course, and you had noted after the race that the rails had come down and he was running on the best part of the racetrack. Breeders' Cup Turf I thought was a toss because he was just on a wicked pace throughout. Pegasus World Cup, I don't know, didn't really get the kind of trip I think he needs. He was forward last time out in the McDermott. Why was I disappointed with that effort?
I mean, I think I was disappointed too. I mean, it's not like his McDermott was a total disaster, but you just sort of felt like they went back to the tactics that they needed to, put him up there pressing the pace, and for him to sort of get out finish, he couldn't quite get by to the lead and then to get out finish the way that he did. It was disappointing. The good news for him is he's better than that. He has a bunch of races from last year that are a lot better than that performance. I think he will be forward in here. He likes this turf course. Listen, the whole key to him, I think, turning it around, he was a good horse well before his campaign last year too, but the key last year was when they started getting him involved early, and that's what they have to do in this race.
I'm just not sure if Joel Rosario likes to do that with them. We've seen Jose Ortiz be aggressive with them. Rosario had him up close last time out, but it almost was a reluctant up close, where he was eager and pulling. I think he's going to try to sit off Epical and even try to gain some cover in behind that horse or in the early portion of the race. He does not need the lead to win. He has been successful in the past. I'm curious to see what we get. I agree with you. I like him better when he's forwardly placed. Let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 1 Man of War. We're looking for some prices in here, and you're going to go with the number 4 Arklow, who ran such a big race in the Kentucky Turf Cup. I thought that was a very impressive performance where he beat Bigger Picture. You know that horse is as game as they come. He ran well in the Sycamore. He was far from embarrassed in the Breeders' Cup Turf. My only worry is Brad Cox wanted to prep in an allowance race. It was a really nice allowance race on paper. He lost the rider. So basically he's running in this race off a 6-month layoff.
Yeah, that's sort of my concern too. I mean, obviously that's not ideal, and it's not what his connections wanted coming into this. They wanted a prep at Keeneland before they came in here, and it didn't work out for them. Is that a huge deal? I guess we don't know until he runs on Saturday. Obviously, you would prefer that he had the prep race, but based on what this horse has done on turf, basically from the beginning, I mean, I think it's easy to forget because you have to go back a couple of years, but as soon as they switched this horse to turf, he upped his game immediately and became a graded stakes winner in his second career turf start. And I just feel like he took a step forward last year, Dan, when they stretched him out in distance. I think he really appreciated it. He was able to stay closer to the pace when they went longer with him. As you say, his Kentucky Turf Cup, it wasn't against the greatest field in the world, but it was a good field, and he won that race very impressively. And it's not like when they ran him back in the Sycamore and Zulu Alpha beat him, to me anyway, it's not like he didn't run every bit as well as Zulu Alpha did in that race. I mean, for him to be uncovered for as long as he was in that race and then to pull his way all the way up to the lead very early on, he actually ran a very good race that day. I think he fits well in this field. I think he's going to be a price.
And he has won off a 6-month layoff in the past, obviously, against weaker horses. Todd Pletcher won this race last year with a South American bred named High Happy, who had prepped down at Gulfstream. Now, High Happy was coming into this race in better form than his entrant this year, Village King. But I think Village King has run some sneaky good races. 2 back in the McDermott, he set the pace. He was pressed by the Belmont trained runner, and he finished evenly. I thought he was a reluctant pace setter in that race. Last time out, they wanted to make the lead with him, and it looked like things were going well when all of a sudden a horse made a mid-race move at him and forced this horse to go all in with a half-mile to run. He eventually shrugged that horse off, but he couldn't shrug Focus Group and Melmich, 2 closers that were really taking advantage of the way that pace heated up the middle portion. I think Village King's going to sit 3rd this time around. I'm hoping he can kick late. I think he's better than he looks on paper.
Yeah, I agree with you. And to me, his last race is really the race that I think you want to look at if you like this horse. To me, that's the best race he's run since he's gotten over here by far. I don't know if it makes him the winner of the Grade 1 Man of War. That feels like a lot to ask of him. But he ran better than it looks last time. He actually ran a very good race last time.
And both of these horses will be big prices. Mike's going 4, 6, 8, and 5. I'm going 3, 5, 8, and 7. Most of my play here going to be concentrating on Village King and Magic Wand. I think Magic Wand's going to run a very nice race from just off of it. The Grade 1 Man of War, race number 10 at Belmont. One of several graded stakes races on the card. Get involved with a DRF Bets account. Deposit 100, bet with 250. DRF Bets, ready, set, bet. Approximate post time for the Grade 1 Man of War, 6:24 Eastern. Good luck.